Manchester United won, Arsenal 3 here at the Emirates, and I predicted that we'd probably lose by 2 goals, but not in that manner. It's really hard to dissect games like this because you're emotionally charged, and there's so many different facets as to why you lose a game like that. Some are really, really small margins within games. Some are bigger than that. Some are to do with the squad and the lack of quality in it. And in the moment, you're raging. You're thinking, how is this happening? It's the same old crap. But then you take a step back and you try and look at what happened. And it isn't the same old crap. There were a lot of positives for Manchester United today, but I just think essentially it came down to something that's always been a problem for us. It's managing the game emotionally at different points of the game. That's what we're not doing very well. I'll get to injuries and I'll get to unfortunate things that happen. But in terms of the things that we are in control of, it's managing the emotions. It's managing the emotions better. We did the same thing that we did last year, which is score early, or maybe not so much early, but score first, and then immediately after scoring, concede. That has to stop. It really, really does have to stop. You can't come to the Emirates and score first and then immediately let them back into the game. It's just not how you can win games. A positive is that we managed to calm down after that, because actually, at 1-1, I probably expected a bit of an onslaught from Arsenal to keep coming at us, but that didn't really arrive. I felt we were quite comfortable, and we did well in midfield. And actually, you know, Christian Eriksen, I thought was one of the pick of the bunches. I thought we did relatively well. Did Arsenal have some chances? Yes, of course they did. Saka should have scored. You know, Martinelli keeps going at Wan-Bissaka, but you know, sometimes you have to respect the opposition. I think Wan-Bissaka did a good job. Maybe he couldn't go forward offensively because that's what Martinelli does. He keeps his fullbacks pinned back. But he kept winning corners after corners after corner. But what do you expect Wan-Bissaka to do? Not real any problems there. Saka was huffing and puffing a bit, but I think Dalot mostly done an okay job on him. And it was just a game of moments. Again, at 1-1, you come through a long, tough period in the second half where Arsenal were on top and Saka has the main chance. But other than that, they wasn't really threatening. They had the ball, they kept coming, and I understand that. But in terms of gilt edge chances, nice one, bro. In terms of gilt edge chances, it wasn't really there. And then we come out of that period, especially after the penalty incident as well, which definitely wasn't a penalty. It was good to see that was overturned from Kai Havertz because it wasn't a penalty. And then that gave us the belief after that to go and create some moments. And you can see on the counter-attack, Rashford against Ben White was causing problems. Rasmus Højlund, when he came on, a massive positive for him, doing things that Martial cannot do. Physical, gave it to Gabriel. Yes, Gabriel's a little bit rusty, he hasn't been starting, but you can tell what Rasmus Højlund's on. He wanted to fight with him, he wanted to wrestle, he wanted to be a focal point up front. Nearly scored as well when Rashford goes past Ben White and cuts it back to Rasmus Højlund on a different day. It could have been a goal. But again, we make the chance for Garnacho, and you're thinking it's 2-1, it's elation, and then the goal gets disallowed for offside. And that's a big problem because, again, we didn't manage it emotively. Going from the elation of thinking you scored to then saying, right, there's 8 minutes left, etc., make sure you don't lose. We didn't manage that well. And, of course, the biggest reasons, which I'm not saying we lost specifically because of these two players, but the difference in qualities off the bench. Arsenal today were able to bring on Fabio Vieira and Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a fantastic player, we know that, but he's coming back into it. And we were forced to bring on Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans hasn't played for Manchester United since 2015. Now, I questioned why we brought him in. Obviously, we needed bodies, but you never expected him to have to play today. You never did expect for Harry Maguire to have to play. And when you lose Martinez to injury, that's unfortunate. When you lose Victor Lindelof with another injury, that's unfortunate. We already didn't have Varane. We already didn't have Shaw. There's no Scott McTominay. There was very, very limited options on the bench from the start. You're never going to bring on Dangor. You're never going to bring on Hannibal Mejbri in that sort of situation. So the only person we had on our bench who could impact the game, who actually did, was Alejandro Garnacho. So look, in a weird way, there were positives for Man United. This is the second time in a row that we've come in and given an actual a big game to them. And I will say Christian Eriksen helped us have control over the midfield. It was, you know, we've been talking, saying that, oh, his legs are gone, and all of a sudden he's a bad player. So how has he been able to come in here and play like that? As Ricky's just going past there, he's saying that, I've been saying that, that's my guy. I'm telling you now, Fleck. It's true though, isn't it? It's true.
Yeah, they're going to try and replace him with Amrabat now.
Yeah. He's got to play. He's got to play.
Will be better.
No, he's got to play with them. He's got to play with them.
Højlund is going to be a boy.
Exactly.
Really
nice one. Exactly.
Came up against Gabriel.
He was solid. Arsenal fans saying that there. You know, Rasmus Højlund, they were impressed with him as well. So it is the finer margins that we are dealing with. Elation. If we would have come out of there with a 2-1 win, what would we have said? We would have said, I tell you what, bringing in Onana is the best thing we've ever done. Arsenal were very tentative to go and press him because of how we were passing out from the back. So that was working. You would have said, I tell you what, we showed a little bit of muscle. We showed a little bit of steel to come through difficult moments, which you're always going to have at the Emirates, to come through and win the game on a counter-attack. And we would have said, you know what, well done, Man United. Finally, you've won a game away from home. But the fine margin of the offside, and then now you end up losing 3-1. And look, the third goal's, it's a consolation, not consolation, but the game was over. It was already over. So that's just what was going to happen. So at the end of the day, you have to say, Man United, there's some positives there. There are. But still some of that mental fragility that we keep talking about. We've got to get better at managing our emotions, having a little bit of ring awareness. It's like a boxer who's just been dropped. You know, it might be a 10-8 round, but you haven't lost the fight. Stabilize yourself and keep self calm, and that's what we don't do. We concede straight after scoring, and that isn't good enough here. But you know what? Transfer window's now shut. Rasmus Højlund, I'm liking what I see there. Amrabat's going to come inside. I'm liking what I'm going to see there. And it's a chance for us just to calm down. It is a massive worry now with Lisandro Martinez, though, because we saw what happened when we lost him last year. Rafael Varane's already out. Luke Shaw's out long term. Lindelof, I haven't heard Erik ten Hag speak after the game as to why or how long he's injured or what happened. Did he just get a little bit tired so we had to throw on Johnny Evans? Because I don't see him going to Johnny Evans unless Lindelof had a problem. So that is massively concerning because the nucleus of this team is Rafael Varane and Martinez, and at the very least, Victor Lindelof then and Martinez. And if you have to play Johnny Evans and Maguire now going forward out of the international break, that's a big issue for Man United. KG said it in the studio. He said, I'll tell you what, I'd much rather play Amrabat in the middle and then put Nasser Brother and put Casemiro centre back. You know, if it gets that bad, we cannot play Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire as a partnership, especially when at left back, you know, you're going to have to bring in Reguilon or Dallow's playing there and he shouldn't play there. We are really, really, really thin. We're just getting really, really unlucky with a lot of injuries. So I'm pissed off. I am, because every time I come here, I just know what's going to happen. We just can't get it done. But there are positives, man. There are positives, and I think it's definitely stuff we can build upon. It is like I say, it's the finer margins, and that's how it goes, isn't it? Arsenal, you got to give credit because they keep coming and coming and coming, and what they don't do is emotionally in the game when it was, you know, when they thought they'd lost it, that gave them a wake-up call. What do they do? Keep coming. The same way when we scored the first goal, what do they do? Wake-up call, a great bit of football, and then they score because they're better than us in terms of transition. So. Listen, we go again, international break, not the way you want to be going into it. I just hope that injuries to Martinez and Lindelof aren't too bad, because if we have to play Maguire and Evans, then it's very, very peak. But Rasmus Højlund, tick, and hopefully we can get Amrabat into the squad. But Christian Eriksen deserves a good mention because I think he was really good today. Take care. Peace.